Linhai, Zhejiang province. What do you think this place looks like? The Great Wall? They look similar because many structures on the Great Wall actually came from this wall, such as the hollow watchtower behind me, but they're different. The Great Wall is a border wall, but this wall is just a part of a city wall, only that the northern part is built on a hill. During the 16th century, this wall was fortified many times against the invasion of pirates. In this video, let me tell you the story of pirates and why many people call this wall the predecessor of the Great Wall of China. In Linhai, the northern side of the city wall is up in the mountain, so I had to climb up the mountain early in the morning. The city offers a very direct and brutal way. It reminds me of the last section of the hiking in Mount Taishan. Everyone's out of breath when reaching the top. The tour had a fun beginning. This is one of the city gates. Behind the city gate is one of the most famous generals during the anti-piracy war in China. I'll go to the city wall from here. Inside the pavilion atop the city gate, there is a sand table model of the city. The northern part of the city wall is built on the ridge line of the mountain. The eastern part has been demolished. The rest is just like regular city wall. Isn't this ancient town a miniature of North China? On the right side is a 3D map of North China. The Great Wall is built on the ridgeline of Yanshan Mountain in the north. Coincidentally, the northern part of the Linhai city wall is named the Jiangnan Great Wall, with Jiangnan referring to its location south of the Yangtze River. I'm now here and will walk counterclockwise on the city wall to this gate and enter the town from here. Ahead is a watchtower. There is an exhibition about anti-piracy war inside this watchtower. In the 14th century, displaced Japanese samurai started ransacking coastal villages in China. This exhibition is mostly about the legacy of General Qi Jiguang, who created unique weapons and strategies in fighting pirates. By aligning the soldiers in different arrays and by utilizing different weapons in different positions, his troops were very effective fighting the pirates in the narrow streets in this region. I'm now approaching the highest point of the mountain, where there is a two-story pavilion on the wall. Walk you around for a circle, you would have found that Linhai is nowhere near the ocean. It's not even a coastal city. Why was it attacked by pirates? During the 16th century, the size of pirates grew so much that they were no longer satisfied with raiding coastal villages. they started attacking inland towns such as Linhai. The Linhai Great Wall is called the predecessor of the Great Wall of China because of the hollow watchtowers invented during the battles against the pirates. It was said that General Qi Jiguang was inspired by fishermen's houses near the beach, which were solid even during hurricanes. In one of his books, he described the hollow watchtowers in details, such as dimensions and how to build them. He even drew diagrams to illustrate it. Hollow watchtowers were first built in one coastal castle and received very positive comments. So when the city wall of Linhai was fortified, the hollow watchtowers were added to it. 7 years later, General Qi Jiguang was called up to guard the northern border of the country, which included today's northern suburbs of Beijing. There is a chapter about General Qi in the history of Ming Dynasty. It says, Qi Jiguang inspected the border and suggested to construct the watchtowers. Each watchtower has a height of 5 zhang, which is equivalent to about 60 meters. It's hollow inside and has 3 stories. Each watchtower could station up to 100 soldiers and could also store armor, weapons, and food. Even if you've never heard of Linhai, you have definitely seen the hollow watchtowers, which have become a trademark of the Great Wall of China. That's why the Linhai City Wall is called the predecessor of the Great Wall of China. This protruding section on the wall is a common structure in castles in China. In Mandarin, it's called Ma Mian, which translates to horse face. It's easier to monitor the outer side of the wall from the horse face. Starting from this point, the city wall spurs down from the mountain to the basin. A river emerges. The city and its wall existed way earlier than the pirates' issues. Actually, the city wall was first built for flood-proofing reasons. It was not until the 16th century that hollow watchtowers and other defensive structures were constructed on the wall. In this section of the wall, there are descriptions of the evolvement of the city wall during each dynasty. It was expanded, destroyed, restored, and fortified many times, with the biggest fortification going on during the Ming Dynasty in the 16th century when the security of the city was under huge pressure. The city dates back to a small rammed earth town in between the river and the mountain, built in the year 402. Outside the city wall is the river. Below is the city wall and its enclosure. Starting from that point, the city wall becomes more flat and it's more like a normal city wall. The river goes around it. The enclosure outside the city gate gives it an extra layer of defense. The river outside the city wall runs all the way to the East China Sea, making Linhai a good location to engage in foreign trade and trade with other parts of China via the sea. Historically, it's a wealthy city, which was why it attracted pirates. The residence houses behind me is such a typical Yangtze River style houses. So this section of the wall is a good combination of the Great Wall style and the Yangtze River Delta style. Here's another protruding section, or as we call it, horse face. See, it's for monitoring the blind zone below the wall. Instead of being a square, the horse faces here have a shape of a quarter of a circle. During flood season, the city wall acts as river levee, and rounded structures fare better in resisting flood water. As the river bends here, the city wall also bends. A group of men dressed like Ming soldiers just walked by. It's near the entrance of the busiest street in the town. I'll get off the city wall and enter the town from here. Here is the exit. Let me take you to walking from the city gate below. There are two gates inside, forming a small enclosure, which we've seen earlier from above. Both gates could be shut to trap invaders inside. This is one of the main streets and a street with a very long history. There are many old houses on this street, all with wooden structure. This wall in front of us is called fire stopping wall. Because the houses all have wooden structure, if there's a fire, it would spread very fast. The fire stopping walls separate the street into different sections, so fire could be eliminated into one section. This video is the first one in the series about the piracy in China in the Ming Dynasty. 74 castles were constructed along the coastline as military bases during this period. I'll take you to some of those coastal castles and tell you about the seaban in China during the age of exploration in Europe, which was the beginning of the rise of the West and the fall of the East. I'm Yan Yan. I make videos about sites of interest in China and histories and stories behind them. Subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.